Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jai, and in today's class we are going to continue with our grade 6 content. Today's class is going to cover adding fractions. Okay, with that, let's get started. We're going to do some of the examples from the textbook. So let's start off with something really simple. Okay, so we're going to try 1 over 8, okay, plus 2 over 8. Okay, and again, make sure you're putting the equal sign going down. What you're going to do here is I notice that the denominators are the same, and the denominator again is the bottom number, and it is 8. So what I can do is just add the numerators together. So on top, I'm going to write 1 plus 2, and the whole thing is going to be over 8. Okay? And let's write it going across here. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Okay, and the answer here is going to be 3 over 8. So I have to make sure that I'm basically checking to see if the denominators are the same. And if they are, then you can just add the numerators together. Okay? So now we're going to go to basically if the denominators are different and how you are solving those questions. So I'm going to take this off. Okay, and let's try a simple question from here. So say it's 1/2, okay, plus 3 over 4. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I notice the 2 and the 4 are not common denominators. Okay, let's put the equal sign. In order to make it a common denominator, I see that I can take the first fraction, I can multiply it by 2. And if you multiply the bottom or the denominator by 2, I have to make sure I multiply the numerator by 2 as well. Okay, so on the top it's going to be 1 times 2, so 2. On the bottom is 2 times 2, which is 4. So it's 2 over 4 plus 3 over 4. Okay? Everyone's still okay so far? And now I'm going to add the numerators together because the denominator is the same and it is 4. So I'm doing 2 plus 3, which is equal to 5. Okay? So the answer here is basically 5 over 4. Okay? And make sure when you have the original question, I can't just add the numerators and denominators together. Okay, that is not the answer. We are looking for a common denominator. And usually if your answer is like this as an improper fraction, I should make sure that I change it into a mixed number. Okay, and if you're not sure how to do that, one more time, we did go through that in the last video. Make sure you are sure to check that out. Okay, so we're going to see how many times does 4 go into 5. Which is just once. So I'll make one whole there. And again, I like to exaggerate my whole numbers. Okay, if I do 4 times 1, it's equal to 4. And what's left over is basically 1 because I'm doing 5 minus 4. And it's going to be 1 over 4. Okay, so just like this. So one more time, okay, the denominators are not the same. So I'm trying to multiply them by a number, multiply the fraction on the top and the bottom, so you don't change the fraction. And again, those are equivalent fractions, okay, that I'm going to keep the same. I want to make sure the denominator is the same, and when it is, I can add the numerators together. Okay, so in this case, you notice that you only multiplied one of the fractions, okay, and I kept the other fraction the same. However, there will be times where you have to multiply both of the fractions. Okay, so why don't we try an example? Okay, so we're going to move down here. Okay, and I'm going to take this off. So again, we'll just pick like a really simple question from the textbook. So let's try this one. So it says 2 over 5. Okay, plus 1 over 4. Okay, so when I look at both of these denominators, it's 5 and 4. Okay, I noticed that I can't do a common denominator by just multiplying one of the fractions. I have to multiply both of them. Okay. When you're looking for the common denominator here, think of just as you multiplying the denominators by each other. So I have 5 here, so I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by 4. Okay, and on the other side, I have 4, and I'm going to multiply it by 5. Okay, on both sides. Alright, just like this. So let's try the first fraction, and again, we're going to go through it really slowly. For the first fraction, I'm doing 2 times 4, which is 8. And then the bottom is going to be 5 times 4, which is equal to 20. So this is actually the first equivalent fraction. It's 8 over 20, okay? And again, because I multiplied the top and bottom by the same number, it's an equivalent fraction to 2 over 5, okay? Let's go to the second fraction. On the top, I'm doing 1 times 5, which is 5. And on the bottom, I'm doing 4 times 5, which is 20. Okay, so again, I notice one more time here, okay? The denominators are the same. And what I'm going to do is add the numerators together, okay? So I'm going to write it out just so we remember the steps. Okay, so on the top for the numerator, I'm doing 8 plus 5, which is 13. And the denominator is still going to be 20. Okay, and again, I actually usually just circle my final answer just so the teacher can see what your final answer is. Again, if your answer is wrong, don't worry about that. Make sure you're showing all your steps and the teacher will give you the part marks for that. Okay, so let's try one more example because I think we are getting really good at this. Okay, so let me take this off. Okay, and we're going to do basically a question similar to this example that we just did right now. So let's try 3 over 8, okay, plus 1 over 3. And again, make sure you take your time as you're doing these questions. We want to make sure we're getting the right answer. Okay, so let's take a look at the denominators here. It's 8 and 3. Again, there isn't a common denominator. I can't just multiply one of the fractions, okay, to get that common denominator. So I'm going to just multiply 8 and 3 by each other. For 8, I'm going to do times 3, okay, on the top and the bottom, all right? And for the 3, I'm going to multiply it by 8 on the top and the bottom. And you should always show your work like this, okay, just so you don't get confused, all right? And we can make sure we are getting the right answer. So on the top, for the first fraction, it's 3 times 3, which is 9. Okay, on the bottom, it's 8 times 3, which is 24. If I go to the next fraction, I'm going to do 1 times 8, which is 8. And the bottom is 3 times 8, which is equal to 24. Okay, again, I'm just writing it going across. You should be writing it going down until you get your final answer. All right, so now I notice basically the bottom denominators are 24. So I can add the numerators together. So just like this, okay? So on the top I have 9 plus 8 and the denominator is 24, okay? And when you add that together, it's going to be 17. On the top, I'm just doing 9 plus 8, which is 17. Okay, and you notice that the denominator stays the same throughout, which is 24. And this is my final answer. It's 17 over 24. And again, if your final answer is something that you can reduce, I should be reducing the fraction, okay, to the simplest form. And again, if your fraction is an improper fraction at the end, like one of the examples we did, you should make sure that you change that into a mixed number, okay? Make sure you check out like the other videos covering the grade 6 math fractions, whether it's equivalent fractions or changing from the improper fraction to the mixed number and vice versa. Alright, so today's class basically covered grade 6 math, adding the fractions, alright? All you have to do is basically look for a common denominator. If you don't have a common denominator, just multiply the fractions by each other so you can get that common denominator and then you can add the numerators together. Alright, so I hope everyone found this video really helpful, and if you did, please make sure you're clicking on the like button below and subscribe to the channel, and I will see everyone next time. Thanks, bye.